Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to show you the behind the scenes of this arcade animation I just created. So I came up with this idea because I created a whole mall animation last year, and I have this little tiny room that I created just for like a small arcade. So what I wanted to do is kind of expand on that. It was always my goal to kind of have like a full arcade room, but in the mall animation I just didn't have enough time. So that's why I recreated this one, and I have it looping over like an hour of music. So people can kind of keep it on in the background. I like creating those kind of videos. So now I'm going to show you the behind the scenes on how I built this out and how I was able to pretty much build all of this in just like a day or two. So now I'm going to jump into how I got started. So the first thing I did is I jumped over into Blender Kit, and I wanted to find a model of a room that would fit for an arcade. So I came across this co-working space one, and this worked out perfectly. So as you can see, if you've already watched the animation, it's very similar. But what I did, of course, is I took out all the desk. I took out like these like flower planter thingies hanging on the wall and all of that. There was a few things I just kind of removed. So I kind of just had like a shell. So I wanted to just kind of have a room that was more long like this. So this actually worked out perfect. And then I added the carpet and all of that. So when I created that mall animation, which I'll leave a link in the description below so you can watch the whole thing, I already purchased these arcade models right here. I really like these ones because what it is when you duplicate one of these arcades, it changes like the textures on it and the neon lights and everything. So if you go back and you watch the animation, you can see right here, when you copy it, it changes like the texture and everything. So I wanted to make it where, you know, it looked like different arcades, but it's really just basically the same model. So for 10 bucks, this was a no-brainer. So I highly recommend this one if you need like arcades for some reason. And then I use some other assets within Blender Kit as well. So like the Pac-Man sign and some other arcades. So pretty much most of the models were already pre-made. There was a few things I created, like the arcade sign and our Wicky sign. There was a few other like small things I created manually, but I was able to do all of this basically in just one day. So that's how you save a lot of time, is somebody else has already built a lot of models. So now I'm going to jump into Blender and show you how I kind of got started and then built up all the way to the final animation. So now here we are inside of Blender. And like I said, I have that co-working space that I already downloaded, and I gutted everything. So this is basically kind of the start of the scene. So usually when I do a scene like this, what I like to do is start with the environment light first. And then the scene that I downloaded from Blender Kit already had all of these like spotlights in here. And then there's some area lights that I have disabled right now, just for now. Because what I like to do is start from the outside, then kind of go in. So if I jump out into the environment, you can see right here, I have this cube. Now this is an add-on I just purchased because if you mess with HDR lights in the world, it's kind of hard to like rotate it and scale it and all of that. You have to go into the shader editor and do all of that. There's a really good plugin right here called Polydome. And what you can do is you can choose between like a cube or a dome. So in this case, I have an HDR, you can see right here. It's like an indoor studio. So I wanted something that was like really colorful. So that's what I did, is I brought that in here. And then what I like about this is you can easily like change the scale of how big you need the room. You can rotate, you know, like where it's going to be. So yeah, this right here, to visually be able to see this is so much better than trying to kind of guess. So this plugin I highly recommend. And as you can see right here, this is the arcade. So it's nice and small. The size of this doesn't really matter because when you're inside the room, if I go to my camera view, you can see it's not much going on. And then I have like an area light coming in, so it kind of washes all of that out anyways. So yeah, I like to come in here and just kind of get the lighting correct. And so I made sure that the spotlights, if I go to each of these spotlights, you can see right here I have the color at like 3500. I have like this kind of bluish color to it right here. So you can easily go in here if you wanted to have more of a green look, blue, red. This is what I kind of like about starting with lighting first. Some people go to lighting last, but in a scene like this, I like to just get something up because I want to know what areas I don't need to have like more detail, or if you're not going to see parts of the room, I want to be able to kind of see all of that first. So that's usually what I do. Like I said, I start from the outside and then do the interior. So now if I go in and if I enable all of the rest of the lights that the scene already had, if I go over here, you can now see I have these area lights coming in. So these ones right here on the left, these are the big area lights. And so if I select one of these area lights right here, you can see this is like at 450. So if you needed to have more light coming in, of course, you can always bump this up to like 1200. So you can change the overall like brightness of the whole room. I think this would be a really good time to kind of jump into the next part, which is where I went ahead and I just started adding the different arcades and kind of placing them in there. So let me jump over into that mode and show you how that looks. And so here we are inside the top view. This is what the room looks like. As you can see all of these different like spotlights. These big round circles are the spotlights, like these ones right here. So in situations like this, you're going to want to make sure it kind of covers and overlaps. Each spotlight kind of like overlaps each other. That way you kind of get the whole floor like kind of lit up correctly. So then all I did at that point was starting to add arcade machines. So as you can see, I kind of added like the border right here. I kind of added all these claw machines, pinball, racing. I think it was more pinball, basketball. So I created like this boundary right here. And then I kind of knew that the middle area, I just wanted like clusters. Because I looked at like reference photos, and that's how arcades were. A lot of times they were kind of like clusters in the middle with some arcades along the borders. So now I added right here, you can see I have a cluster right here. I added another cluster, and then that was it for the arcades. I went ahead and if you saw that person, let me go back into my camera view, or I'll go inside. I highly recommend that you have some sort of like scale. So when you go into a mode like this person right here is just like kind of like a default guy at like 6 foot. So you're going to want to make sure that, let me go into like this machine, move him, the G and the X. I'll move in front of this machine. I'll go to top view, just kind of move him right here, rotate him. So what I did is I went to each machine and I made sure that it was pretty accurate to the size. So I'm 6'1", so this was kind of like a good reference. This guy's at 6 foot. So yeah, this would be about where my hands would be. This machine looks to be a little bit taller. These machines over here, you can see if I GX, I like to kind of move them down. So you want to make sure that like where the screen is, it's kind of matching up to his eye level. So, some can be a little bit smaller or taller, whatever it may be. So that's really important because if you don't get the scale right, everything could be really out of whack. So if I go and I had, let's say I had this machine like this big, like in the top view, it wouldn't look any different, of course. But then if you animate that, like that's going to look odd. So highly recommend. This is what all the pros have. They have a guy in there. And yeah, it takes a little extra time, but it's one of the most important things because it could happen too if it's too small. So if you have like it's like a kid arcade machine, So if that's the look you're going for or whatever, but yeah, highly recommend adding a guy. And then of course I added all these like little things. So like over here, I just enabled like this gumball machine. And then I enabled this right here. This was the arcade sign that I created in the mall. And so I figured why not just bring it back in here. This is like the perfect place to have it. So when I did my first rendering, this arcade neon was so bright that it was like washed out. So it just did not work well. So I recommend going into your render mode like this and then just making sure that your emissions aren't like set too high, because if they're set really high, it's going to light all of this other stuff in your scene. And that might not be what you're going for. And then I wanted to add a little Easter egg with our logo in here. So I just created our Wicky logo. And I just created a tutorial. So if you want to watch how you take this model, because if you look right here, it's nice and clean. There's not all this like weird geometry. So I have a tutorial on this channel where I went and I showed you how to fix this up, because when you import SVGs like this, it adds a lot of like junk, like geometry faces, and it's real messy. So I showed a really good tutorial on how to fix that. So I wanted to throw that in there, so in case anybody like ever tried to steal this animation, I have proof that like I created it. And then I kind of just duplicated a lot of the machines. I made sure that there was you can see there's gonna be some repetitive machines. So if I go into here, you're gonna see that there's like a couple Mortal Kombats and the Street Fighter. So I kind of knew at this point that I wanted to loop around the arcade. So I made sure that in some scenes, like if I go right here, that you see like a different one. So like this, I have a Pac-Man over here somewhere, I believe. Oh, and it's not enabled. So right here, I wanted to make sure that when you come back around, it's not always the same machine. Over here, I had some extra space because if I go back into the camera view, I didn't know what to put on this wall over here. So I just have these like little tables and cups. I was going to put a bunch of artwork on the walls, but I figured, hey, let's just add some tables because that's pretty realistic. And then after looking at reference photos and everything, I was like, you know what? You need like bar stools. That's like a big thing in arcades. There's a lot of them. So then what I did is I enabled a bunch of bar stools throughout the entire scene, because if you look at reference photos of, arcades, there was just kind of like random bar stools a lot of times. Like people move them around. Sometimes, a kid or something wouldn't be tall enough so they could sit on here. So what I went to is top view, and I just kind of added them around. So bar stool, any of these big round ones are just bar stools. So just throw them around the scene, just kind of random. I definitely don't recommend ever like adding them like in an array, like really straight, because that doesn't look natural if you just have a whole bunch of things lined up. On these border arcades, those might be okay, but that's why I made sure that like these machines in the middle, they're not perfectly squared. I made sure some are sticking out more than others. Some of them are a little bit crooked because nothing's perfect in the real world. So adding like a random bar stool in the middle of a scene, it just makes it look more natural. All right, and then the next step is I went ahead and I added a camera. So there's a couple different ways you can do this. You can just kind of move it manually, or as you can see in this case, I have a camera animating along this path. And then you may notice that when I animate, this thing is moving. So there's a really good plugin. I'll give credit right here in a link in the description below for this one. It's called AutoCam. So this plugin is great because what it does is it creates all of these extra things that you need to rig your camera up. So this thing following it is kind of what you can see right here is called look at. So it's always trying to like look in that direction. And then you can easily change like depth of field, all of that type of stuff with this plugin. So I highly recommend it because in situations like this, it will save you a lot of time. And then you don't want to have to rig your camera every single time. So this plugin just kind of does all that for you. So once you're happy with that, you can see if I go into the camera view, I have everything off just so you can visually see. You're going to want to make sure that you're not running into walls. If you have all the arcades on, you're going to want to make sure that it doesn't like go through them and all of those things. So once you have that set up, then you're going to want to make sure, if I go over into the camera itself, this is where you are going to go ahead and change the perspective and the focal length and all of that. So I like to do the path first and then figure out which focal length you're going to use and make sure that when you enable that doesn't then cause any issues where you're going through walls or things are getting in the viewport that you didn't notice before. So then what I did is I jumped over into the render, and as you can see, I'm using cycles, of course, GPU, and the final render I had at 1200 by 100. So the one thing I recommend is do a test pass and make your samples like really small. I'm talking like 100, like max 100 samples. That way it renders nice and quick. So you don't want to render out at full res ever. You want to do like a few test runs, make sure that the lighting's right, textures look good, there's no like overlapping textures blinking. You want to make sure your camera's not running into things. So highly recommend you go ahead and just kind of do a test render, and then you can add in extra stuff later if you want, like in the compositor, which I'll show you what I have for this scene. But do that first, and then you can always come back and you're going to make edits. You're never going to have your first pass as like your final. There's always going to be something wrong. Okay, and then one of the last things I did was I went into the compositor and started adding some effects. So when you use this plugin Polydome, I noticed that it puts everything into this node right here called post comp. So this is where you're going to go ahead and add your glares and your vignettes and all that type of stuff. So let me go into here and on the viewport, enable the compositor. So as soon as I do that, you're going to notice it's going to be a lot fuzzier. You're going to have more glare. It's just going to look a lot more polished. So if you don't know where that is, if you go to the very top of your viewport right here underneath shading, you can do the drop down. The compositor by default is disabled, and you can hit always. So now when you go in here, if I wanted to have, like a bigger black outlines on the side, you could do that. And then this effect right here is going to make it more of like a camera effect. So you don't want to go too far on this. It's going to look really funky. It's going to almost look like a 3D image or something like that. So down here, this is where you're going to go ahead underneath your glare and your size. This is what's going to give that effect. So 0 is going to have no effect. And then you're going to want to just kind of bring this up right here. And then that's really about it. That's all I had. These were all built into Blender 5, which is what I like. You don't have to have any additional add-ons or anything like that. They have all of this stuff right down here. So in most cases, this is probably what I'm going to be using, are these three. And it gives you that nice polished look. Then you can go back once you're happy with everything. I went and I made sure that the max resolution was like at 1200. Samples, minimum samples are like at 100. So then this is where you're gonna have to do a little bit of math. Once you get a couple frames kind of rendered out to see how long it takes, then you're gonna do a little bit of math. So in this situation, it took about, like I said, 2 minutes a frame. There's 960 frames. That comes out to about 32 hours. So I knew that already going into it. So what I did is I just loaded this up on like a Friday night and just let it spin the whole weekend. So I kind of checked on it a few times on the weekend. And one thing I definitely noticed, I don't know if this is just on Mac or my certain scenes, but I like to render stuff in the command line. I don't render it. I don't go up here and hit like render animation. You can go ahead with Blender. If you have like a command line, you can just tell it to render it. So it doesn't open up the Blender application. Because when you have the Blender application open, that's using a lot of resources too. So that's why it might crash. So I recommend if you're going to do a long scene like this, just render it command line. It actually is a lot more efficient, and so it's going to save you more time. And then that's pretty much the whole process. Now, there were a few things I did come across in this scene, and I wasn't able to do just because it was going to add more time. I did have some volumetric fog in here, so I wanted the whole scene to kind of have that smoky look, but that was adding way too much time on top of everything, so I decided not to go with that. So I kind of feel like when I use the glare and the bloom, you can kind of get that volumetric look. It's a lot faster rather than having the whole scene with like kind of like real fog in it. So that was pretty much the only like drawback, is I wasn't able to use that. But it was overall pretty happy with the way this came out. So yeah, that was really about it. That's kind of how I start things out. I always like to kind of start with the base. I kind of get the exterior lighting coming in, and then I slowly just kind of add from there. So that's kind of like my steps on how I pull off animations like this. Let me know if you like videos like this, and make sure you give this video a like and a comment below. That will help a lot. And make sure you subscribe so we can grow this channel. And thanks for watching. This is Mark from Blender After Dark.